Good morning and good afternoon, everybody. Thanks for joining us on this Generation UCAN webinar, wherever you are across the country. I'm Varun Shriram. I've been working with a lot of you on the retail and marketing side. Joined as always by my sidekick and actually the man who's taught me a lot about nutrition, Seth Bronheim, our Director of Nutrition and Registered Dietitian. Seth, what is happening today?
I'm doing great. Actually, just got done with a run.
Fantastic. So it's a good time to talk UCAN. And actually, before we kind of get into the meat of this presentation today, we'll likely take about 25 minutes or so this morning, and we'll actually have plenty of time for you guys to ask your questions. I'm not sure what state everybody's in terms of getting back to the store or anything like that, but whether it's through the webinar app, feel free to fire your questions away. There's a little questions tab on the right side. We'll be able to see all those, or you can certainly connect with us offline. I will be emailing a recording of this to all of you after the webinar, so you can certainly follow up with us with any specific questions you have there. And the last thing is, in terms of the samples for everybody who's joining us today, I do have the data for everyone who's signed up and for all the stores that have signed up. So we will make sure to include samples for your next order, and I will reach out to each of you individually after the webinar, kind of letting you know what the deal is with that. So with all that being said, before we get started in the meat of our presentation, I wanted to launch a quick poll and see actually how many of you in here have used UCAN before. So if you do see the poll on your screen and can just respond to that, always curious to gauge the audience we're talking to and to kind of understand how deep we need to go into some of this stuff. Seth, while they're doing that, a fundamental aspect of UCAN and what UCAN does is this idea of controlling blood sugar. But, I realize not everybody may know what blood sugar is. So, from a dietitian's perspective, what is blood sugar and why should we care about keeping our blood sugar stable?
So we all have, really what blood sugar is the sugar in your bloodstream. And we all have a certain amount of sugar circulating throughout our bloodstream, feeding our cells, feeding our brain. And, the problem is that we only need a small amount of sugar in our bloodstream, around 5 grams at once, actually. And so as long as you can keep that sugar circulating throughout the body, that's what's important. The stability is important because if you spike your blood sugar too much, what goes up must come down. And maybe anybody who's just, had a soda and the way you feel the last, an hour later, that crash in blood sugar, that's what you feel. You feel a lot of energy, and then you feel that coming down from that spike. And as long as you can maintain your blood sugar levels, you can maintain good brain function, and you can maintain your health. And if you spike your blood sugar over time too much, that's what's leading to a lot of the diseases. If anybody watched the new documentary Fed Up, talking about what the problem is when you keep your blood sugar too high, it's what leads to a lot of the weight gain and metabolic problems. And I know metabolic syndrome and weight gain that's going around in the country today. And there's got to be a better way.
So, the typical kind of, whether you're a cyclist, triathlete, or runner, kind of the typical runner foods or endurance athlete foods over the years, the bagels, the bananas, cereal, the energy bar. The issue going on with a lot of these foods is that, as Seth just detailed, all the calories enter your body very quickly. These are all very fast-acting sources of carbohydrates, but when everyone's so busy throughout their day, these are also sometimes quick and convenient sources of carbohydrates that people want to get in them before a run. But in terms of long-lasting energy, not exactly the most efficient way to fuel your body. Let's even look at a lot of the sports nutrition products on the market today. Your early products, which a lot of people in the endurance world have now moved on from, but a lot of the early products, your Gatorades, Powerades, contain simple sugars, fructose, sucrose. Again, enter the body very quickly, spike your blood sugar, don't give you that long-lasting energy that you desire, and they require frequent redosing. In the 90s, maltodextrin came about as the popular carb source in a lot of sports nutrition products. And you look at your Goos, your Hammers, Accelerates, all these products, they use maltodextrin as their carbohydrate source. And maltodextrin was certainly an improvement on simple sugars in the sense that it's a larger molecule, a more complex carbohydrate, and it's easier on the stomach. But in terms of the impact on blood sugar, flip over the package on any gel that you carry in your shop. What does it say? Use every 30 to 45 minutes. Even with maltodextrin, you're getting that spike in that drop in your blood sugar level, and it's requiring you to fuel over and over and over again, and it's putting your body in the cycle of burn carbs, burn sugar, don't burn fat. So we'll get into a lot of this a little bit more, but we wanted to take a couple minutes just to review the science of UCAN for those who may not be familiar with it. What's really unique about UCAN is our carbohydrates. So we talked about how a lot of other carbs impact blood sugar. With UCAN, actually, there was no intention of sports or fitness at all. It was a complete accident. So you're looking at a picture of Jonah, who's the son of one of our co-founders on the screen. And Jonah had a very rare blood sugar disease where he couldn't break down carbohydrates and convert them into glucose, into blood sugar to give him energy. So the way we all sleep at night is our liver releases glucose into our bloodstream. It helps keep us stable throughout the night. With Jonah, because he wasn't able to do that, he had severely low blood sugar, throughout the day. Got very hypoglycemic and had to be fed every 2 hours around the clock to maintain his energy. This required his parents setting alarm clocks, waking him up in the middle of the night to feed him. And what they were initially doing was just feeding him regular cornstarch that you can buy at the grocery store, because cornstarch is known to have a slower burn than a lot of other carbohydrates. He could take this, it wouldn't overwhelm his system, and it would keep him steady for 2 hours at a time. Clearly, waking up every 2 hours, feeding your kid cornstarch isn't an ideal long term solution. So Jonah's parents were very proactive. They were looking, and they spearheaded research and funding to look for the world's best carbohydrate, as they called it. This was back in 2000. And after 8 years of research, they actually identified something that worked very well for Jonah, which we call superstarch. So Seth's going to kind of tell you what superstarch is and how it helped Jonah, and then we'll talk about transitioning this application into sports.
So, that disease, they have life-threatening low blood sugar. And maybe anybody who's gotten low during a run, maybe, mile 16 or so, where you just kind of feel that low energy, that's low blood sugar for a lot of folks. And so they tried all different types of carbohydrates, barleys, tapiocas, rices, and wheats, looking for a carbohydrate that could stabilize blood sugar longest. But it turns out with a starting ingredient of non-GMO corn, so it's not genetically modified corn, very natural corn. Then there's a patented cooking process that over the course of 40 hours, this carbohydrate gets a lot longer and more complex. So to go back to ninth grade chemistry, and when you add heat and water to carbohydrates, they can get longer. So we do this over the course of 40 hours. There's no enzymes or chemicals used to make this. It's not chemically engineered because our first customers were 2-year-old babies. So again, we start off with this non-GMO corn, and it elongates the carbohydrate. So what happens is that the first thing is that this is very easy on your stomach. It has a very high molecular weight, and large molecules move through the stomach very quickly. Small molecules, like in your gels and your sugars, a lot of the glucose-based drinks, they sit in the stomach and they trickle in through the stomach. Our carbohydrate is very rapid through your stomach, but then in your intestines, it slowly is broken down and then it drips into your bloodstream very steadily. So we're about to review some of the patented science that we had done at University of Oklahoma that was on trained cyclists.
So as we talk about the application of UCAN into sports, again, the superstarch carbohydrate is the key ingredient in UCAN. It's in all the products, and it's really what sets UCAN apart. It's what makes it different. And just to reiterate what Seth was just talking about, originally meant for Jonah to keep his blood sugar stable throughout the night, but we started getting wind from some dietitians around 2008 that, hey, this could be very good for athletes. One gentleman, his name was Bob Sebahar, at the time, who was at the University of Florida and was also the dietitian for the 2008 Olympic triathlon team. And Bob basically told us, what I'm trying to do with every single one of my athletes is maintain their blood sugar. Right now, the best way I'm able to do that is to feed them every 20 to 30 minutes with some type of simple sugar or maltodextrin because they have the spike, then it drops, then I need to bring them back up. But Bob said, if you have something that's doing what I'm trying to accomplish on its own, he said these exact words to us, it's going to revolutionize sports nutrition. It's going to change the way I work with our athletes. And, we've really seen this over the last 4 years since we launched at the Boston Marathon. But, to review a little bit more of the science, and then we'll get into some practical selling points in terms of how to talk about this with your customers. In terms of the science, like Seth said, we did a clinical trial at the University of Oklahoma comparing superstarch against maltodextrin. We wanted to compare it against maltodextrin because that's what we saw all the newer sports nutrition products using. And, that's what across the board we had dietitians tell us was what was considered the best carbohydrate on the market. So, Seth, what are we looking at over here?
So, this is a study done at the University of Oklahoma, and we're comparing ourselves to maltodextrin. As Varn mentioned, it was considered the best time, the best carbohydrate at the time, and because there's supposed to be less spike and crash, a slower burn. But if you look at the blue line, you see a huge spike in blood sugar. This is what's going on in a lot of the Hammer Heed products, and it's really the main carbohydrate in a lot of gels today, which is why Bob Siebehar calls us a new generation of nutrition, which is why we called ourselves Generation UCAN. You see this red line here. We're the red line here, and we're giving you a steady bits of energy over time. That's really matching the rate your brain and your muscles need calories during your running and during your workouts. It's not You don't need that huge surge of carbohydrate at once because your body can only absorb and use so much at once. We're giving you just the right amount to keep you stable without putting too many calories on board. You also see that we don't drop in blood sugar the way maltodextrin does. We stabilize over time. So, if you're going out for a run, you're going to stay steady the entire time and have no drops in blood sugar. And that's really what all you need to maintain peak performance is to maintain your blood sugar over time. And this is why it's been a solution for Bob's athletes.
So let's talk about this graph in two practical terms. I think will make it pretty easy to understand. So point A is really if you're looking at the blue line, if you look at the x-axis, and for those of you who can't see it, just quickly describing it, the x-axis shows time. And if you look at maltodextrin, basically around that 30 to 40 minute mark on the x-axis, you see that rapid decline in blood sugar. Well, let's look at the recommendations for many maltodextrin-based products. It's drink a serving every 30 to 45 minutes. So you kind of see why they're saying that when you look at this graph. They're telling you that you need to refuel when blood sugar drops. Now, if you look at the x-axis, if you look at the 2-hour mark on the x-axis, your blood sugar levels are right around baseline, right around where you started, about the 100 milligrams per deciliter. So again, that makes sense, right? In terms of the context of how to use UCAN, it makes sense because we're telling you take this before and you're going to get about 90 minutes to 2 hours of steady and even energy. So this is the science behind the recommendation. You're getting that steady energy because your blood sugar is stable for about that period of time. And stable blood sugar, in layman's terms, means steady energy. So that's really what's going on here. The second really, really significant thing about this carbohydrate, and I say it's so significant because, nowadays endurance sports are so mainstream. So a lot of people are treating endurance sports, whether, even signing up for half marathons or marathons, with a fitness or weight loss goal in mind. It's not like back in the day where it's just, high performance athletes that are doing these triathlons or marathons or long distance cycling races. So people really want to use this as an avenue to get fit. So with that in mind, Seth, what are people looking at on this graph and why do they care about it?
So this is, our insulin findings, and you saw before, every time you spike your blood sugar, whether you take in a banana, cereal, bagel, have a gel, have a sports drink, all those calories enter your bloodstream too quickly and they spike your blood sugar. Your body doesn't want that high blood sugar. And so this hormone insulin that you're looking at comes into the body to bring your blood sugar back down. That's why you see that huge spike in insulin from maltodextrin. But insulin has a second function in the body, and it tells the body to stop burning fat and start storing it. So the problem is that if you have that gel or that energy bar, like a Cliff Bar, before you start running, you're going to get that flood of carbohydrate in your body, but you're also right about to tell your body to stop burning fat, and that's not great because you want to be able to burn fat, during your running. We'll discuss the benefits of fat burning in a little bit, but if you look with the UCAN, or as we like to call it, Superstarch too, most people in your stores, by the way, are going to probably ask for UCAN. Superstarch is the main ingredient. And you see here that this red line, it's tough to see, but we completely flatline insulin. We keep insulin levels extremely low. What that means is that every gram of this carbohydrate is giving you energy for your body to use. But at the same time, because we're keeping this fat storage hormone low, you're actually able to burn and use your own body fat as energy. So you're really getting two fuels. Our carbohydrate coming in slow and steady for your brain to get energy and for body to use. At the same time, you're able to access your body fat stores and to use fat as energy source. And that even extends into the recovery period as well, for folks to continue the fat burning effect of the workout.
So let's, why do we care about burning fat, right? So we talked about this. There's basically, whether you care about fitness or performance, you want to burn fat. So let's look at the performance side of things. When you're able to burn fat, and I should clarify, sometimes people get this a little bit mixed up. We're not at all saying that UCAN is causing you to only use fat. You're still getting a steady, consistent release of glucose. So you're still getting carbohydrate at the rate you need it, but you're not getting too much at once where you're no longer able to burn fat. So, in terms of fat, let's take Meb as an example, 4% body fat, 125 to 130 pound athlete. Meb's got 12 to 14,000 calories of stored fat that he can use for fuel. So, if Meb's got that much, I would think you and I, we've got plenty more than that. The average person, even someone who comes into your store is very lean and says, oh, I don't have much fat to burn. That's completely inaccurate. Everybody has more than enough fat to burn. So when you're able to burn a combination of fuels, you don't deplete your carbohydrate stores. Now that's very important because carbs are the only thing that can fuel your brain. So you don't want to deplete your carbs because so much of endurance sports, running, exercise is about that mental drive to keep going.
Right? The limiting factor in your exercise is your brain. Because once your brain is low on fuel, that's when you're done.
The other thing from a science standpoint is a gram of fat gives you 9 calories of energy. A gram of carbohydrate gives you 4 calories of energy. So, really that right there illustrates why you want to be able to burn both fuels. Your performance will improve when you're burning that combination of fuels, which is really what UCAN promotes. From a fitness standpoint, I think it's very apparent. Your 5K or 10K or couch to 5K type customer, they're really, as we talked about, getting into endurance sports as a weight management, weight loss mechanism. And UCAN is really that perfect pre-workout snack that will support their weight loss goal during their workout. They're, instead of spiking their blood sugar with a bagel or a banana or a gel and then going into their run, just burning it through that excess sugar, UCAN is going to give them the energy they need while allowing them to burn fat. So we've really seen people lean down over time by strategically implementing UCAN either pre or post workout. When used post workout, it's really a great tool to help curb that ravenous hunger that people sometimes feel after a tough run, or if they don't have time to get a meal in them right away. Pairing the UCAN with the protein post workout keeps them steady and allows that continued fat burn. So let's take a look at the products we offer and kind of how we differentiate them. So there's essentially, there are actually 3 versions of the product. There's a plain super starch as well, which is just the carbohydrate, no flavor, no electrolytes, no nothing. But for the time being, I'm gonna skip that one and talk about the ones that are more common for you to carry at the store. There's essentially 2 versions: the sports drink mix and the protein drink mix. They all come in powdered form right now. So everything contains 30 grams, roughly 30 grams of the super starch carbohydrate. So again, to reiterate, that's the key ingredient. That's what the selling point of UCAN is, this carb that maintains your blood sugar and allows you to keep burning fat. Everything's got that. The fruit flavors, they're about 110 to 130 calories per packet. They've got added electrolytes as well, added sodium and potassium, comparable to any other sports nutrition product out there, about 240 milligrams of sodium, about 160 or 140 milligrams of potassium. So they got the electrolytes in them as well. So the sports drink mix, we really market it and talk about it as a pre-workout snack. You want to drink this, with 8 to 12 ounces of cold water. Give it a good hard shake. For you guys that have used the product, it doesn't dissolve in water. It does have to be shaken up well, either in a blender bottle or any type of water bottle. And you want to get it in 30 minutes before your workout. What's been interesting is we've had some running store owners tell us that, people are coming into UCAN to buy, the packet as a pre-workout snack instead of going to the grocery store and buying, whatever they would normally have as a pre-run meal or a pre-run snack. So it's actually in a lot of ways creating a new market for the specialty retail store because it's really a daily nutrition product. It's replacing a lot of the convenient foods that people might buy at the grocery store. So in terms of when to use the sports drink mix, you want to use it before the workout. And one packet should really keep you steady and even for a good 90 minutes to 2 hours without needing to refuel. So it's pretty simple, for your 5K or 10K or even for a half marathon, or in a lot of cases. It's have UCAN before, just drink water during. If it's very hot and you're a heavy sweater, you could certainly supplement with some sugar-free electrolytes. I know many of you know about our new electrolyte product that we are getting set to release in the upcoming weeks. But that's really the deal. It's pretty easy. Now, obviously, we've got some triathlon store owners, some cycling store owners in here. Even for the marathon, when you go longer than 2 hours, our very basic recommendation. We can talk about this a little more in a second, but our general recommendation is to have an additional packet of UCAN every 75 to 90 minutes when you're going over 2 hours. And you can mix it up as thin or as thick as you'd like. We have a lot of marathon runners who are concentrating it in a small gel flask and like a fuel belt and, sucking it down like a gel 90 minutes into their race. For a lot of marathoners, they'll have UCAN before. They'll have a packet around mile 10 to 12. They'll have another packet around mile 17 to 20, and they'll take it in a gel form. And then that's really all they're taking, 350 or so calories for an entire marathon, and they feel steady throughout. And then certainly this isn't as primary of a use, but a great use case we've been finding for a lot of people with weight loss goals is around 3 o'clock in the afternoon when they're at their desk at work. Just treating UCAN as a healthy snack, just having a packet at their desk, shaking it up and drinking it, both to tide them over to get them through the workday, but also if they're trying to run after work, at 5 or 6 o'clock, at least their energy isn't so low by the time they get into their run.
We've had a lot of folks, I kind of say one of our biggest competitors is actually the banana. Because so many folks try to have a banana before a 5 to 8, even 8 mile run, and a lot of our customers were talking about how that second half of the run is where they really notice UCAN, because that banana doesn't last them as long as they'd like. It can't stabilize blood sugar the way you'd want it to. And so, that's why they're coming into your stores now, and they can choose UCAN instead. As Varn was talking about, it's a new market, and we're trying to take over shoes.
Absolutely. So, Seth, tell them a little bit about the protein.
So, a lot of folks have been using the protein enhanced version of UCAN, especially our vanilla cream. If you're someone who wakes up with some morning hunger, but you want to get that morning run in, a scoop. We have it in packets and tubs, as Varn alluded to, and so people have a scoop even before that 5 mile run in the morning. That little bit of protein is around 8 grams, 7 or 8 grams in a scoop for the protein enhanced UCAN. That amount of protein, curbs that hunger in the stomach, and so it's kind of like that healthy snack before that morning run. And that goes the same thing for that person running after work, where you don't want to have dinner, but that the having a scoop or two of UCAN gives you that added protein that can just, again, help curb hunger later in the day. And if you're someone who's going to go, for an hour or more run, the UCAN protein enhanced drink is amazing for recovery because it's going to keep your blood sugar stable after the workout. There's so many products, out on the market that contain maltodextrin post workout with some protein, but the problem with maltodextrin again is that you're raising your blood sugar after the workout. So not only are you turning off your fat burning mechanism, which you want to continue, especially if the goal is to lean down. Again, UCAN post-workout continues the fat burning effect of the workout. And that's huge for anybody who is running over an hour and their goal is weight loss. And so, but if you're someone who is having those drinks, let's say you have that typical, maltodextrin, whether it's your Hammer products or Cliff Bar, and you spike your blood sugar post-workout, you're turning off your fat burning. But if you're someone post-workout who's just going to have UCAN, you're going to keep your blood sugar stable, and the protein is actually going to be used for recovery reasons, and it's going to help with your recovery.
Let's think about, what's such a common thing that everyone thinks of for recovery? Chocolate milk, right? And chocolate milk, they tout the carb to protein ratio, and certainly no denying that the protein in chocolate milk will contribute to muscle recovery. But if Seth just mentioned, if weight loss or fat loss is a goal of yours, you do not want to be dumping 20 to 25 grams of sugar into your body after a workout. It just doesn't make sense. It just is not going to contribute to fat loss. So the other thing is, Kim Conley, the 5K Olympian in 2012, she talked about this a lot. She was always having chocolate milk after workout for recovery. And 20 to 25 minutes later, when her blood sugar would drop, she would just be starving and would really have trouble, doing anything else before she had to get a meal in her. So she would say that hunger overtook her. With UCAN, she finds that it really maintains her. Even let's look at Meb, right? So Meb primarily, before Boston, Meb used a packet of lemonade an hour before the race to fuel his marathon. But in his training, Meb is very much a food guy, right? So he, a lot of times, depending on if he has the time and the luxury of eating a meal, he'll use the UCAN after, and he'll have some type of breakfast before. the biggest thing that Meb finds with the UCAN with protein, even though he's already a very lean guy, as he's gotten older, he's significantly cut down the number of miles he runs in a block of marathon training. So his weekly mileage has gone down. Just the natural progression with aging, he wants to keep his body healthy. When Meb's done with the tough workout, he's got this whole routine, his ice bath, his stretching. It may be an hour and a half or 2 hours after a hard workout that he's able to get a meal in him. The reason he loves having the UCAN with protein immediately after is he feels like it contributes to his muscle recovery, but the carbohydrate keeps him nice and steady so he isn't overtaken by that hunger. He can get through his post-workout routine. So he's really relying on it both for recovery, but also to maintain his steadiness and energy after a workout. And think about how that applies to the runner that comes into your store. So many people running first thing in the morning, they have to oftentimes go straight to work. They have to come home, drop the kids off at school. They may have something else. Even if you're in the evening, come home and cook dinner for the family. They don't have the luxury in often cases of getting a balanced and proper meal in them as soon after a tough workout, whether it's a brick workout, a cycling ride, a run. So really, positioning UCAN as that recovery product that's also going to tide them over and help curb hunger by keeping their blood sugar stable while also allowing them to keep burning fat. That's really the way you want to try explaining the UCAN with protein to your customer and why it's different than other recovery products. So it's not so much the carb to protein ratio that you want to look at. You really want to look at the quality of the carbohydrate that they're getting in the recovery window. One thing we didn't talk about is because this protein, or actually Seth did allude to it, but because the protein UCAN does have the same amount of the super starch in it, certainly works great as a pre-workout option as well. So a lot of triathletes like to start the race with the protein UCAN before the race, almost treat it as part of their breakfast. Just get some extra calories in. The protein helps contribute to curbing hunger. If you're going out for a really long run and you don't want to eat much, again, treat the protein UCAN as your breakfast or as your pre-run snack. With the idea is that the energy is going to be the same in terms of the carbohydrate, but the protein curbing your hunger will be significant if you're somebody that gets hungry during your run. Kind of just a quick review in terms of UCAN. It's definitely what we want to emphasize is this is a training product. It's a daily nutrition product. You can use it before your long runs. You can use it before an hour yoga class. You can use it before a spin class, before a boot camp class. A lot of people aren't just doing running. People are doing all sorts of workouts to support their running before strength training. So that's the best way to position it. It's a pre-workout snack to use in training. We do have the tubs, which, like Seth mentioned, the serving size is slightly smaller. So customers that really are getting into using it as part of their training and using it multiple times a week, basically a scoop and a half from the tub equals one packet. So if you're just working out for an hour, you could take an 80-calorie scoop of UCAN from the tub, and that should be sufficient. So the packets are certainly something that are great for the longer training, but if you have people that want to implement it into their shorter, their 5-mile runs, I love using like 2/3 of a scoop before a 45-minute run. If I'm doing it in the evening, it's just enough substance to give me that fuel I need. And I like the fact that when I'm done with the run, it tides me over where I'm not coming home, reaching into the fridge, grabbing everything in sight. I'm really able to come home, take a shower, cook a proper meal. We talked about recovery and also, as you see here, definitely something that can be added to a meal replacement shake, be used as a healthy snack in the middle of the day. You could certainly experiment, with multiple servings. If you're focused on that really long run, we have a lot of marathoners or again, cyclists taking 2 packets of UCAN or multiple servings before a run. And they may do this in several ways. They could either combine the servings and take them all at once about 30 to 45 minutes before, or we have some people staggering it. They'll have like a protein UCAN an hour and a half before as part of breakfast. Then they may have the carb-only UCAN 30 minutes before. And people often find that these 2 servings of UCAN, will keep them steady for 2.5, 3 hours, get them through 18, 20 miles without needing anything else. So that's really, if you load with more beforehand, it may eliminate that need to fuel for a longer period of time. Seth, why don't you touch a little bit on this in terms of both from let's transition a little bit into a kind of a business standpoint with the price point of UCAN and how you could compare it in terms of the price point of other products and what it's replacing.
Yeah. So you know, just to start out, we have a lot of stores now that are telling me that, they're upselling gels. They have a customer, because customers coming in looking for a gel, and that's the perfect opportunity to really discuss UCAN because, in honesty, they're going to spend more of their dollars on UCAN over the course of a year than they would on gels. Some folks, as you might know, come in just for sports nutrition sparingly because they think, oh, I want to just use it before my long run, the first couple long runs before leading up to a marathon. They're coming in for a $1.25 gel, let's say. They're leaving with a $3.25 packet of UCAN. But a week later, they're coming in and grabbing a full tub of UCAN for $60. In terms of the price point, one packet of UCAN, let's say they start off having it for a 10-mile or 12-mile run, it's gonna replace a few gels. We use this comparison because, I just spoke with someone who was running her first marathon, and she was using gels, and she used 6 gels for a 26-mile run. Now she's using UCAN, one packet before, a packet at mile 10, and a packet at mile 17. She's using 3 pack, and she would take those 2 packets that she used during the marathon, put them in a 10-ounce fuel belt bottle. Hopefully, they buy the fuel belt bottle from the same store. And she's having that packet at mile 10 and the other half, that second packet at mile 17. She used 3 packets of UCAN to replace 6 gels. And so, that's why you can really, use UCAN to replace the majority of your gels. And, if you have one packet of UCAN, it will last. The best way to fuel UCAN is especially that second half of the run. Because most people use gels to play catch up with their body. You're waiting till you need the fuel. Whereas UCAN is extremely proactive. And, it's really true. 100 or so calories of UCAN replaces around 300 calories. And that's why a lot of people replace a packet of UCAN with a bagel before a long run.
So the biggest question, we get on this point, of course, is from triathletes who are used to 250, 300, sometimes in excess of that calories per hour. And a lot of triathletes, are transitioning to UCAN and finding that once they train with it and get used to it, on average, they might be using 100 or so calories an hour of UCAN, sometimes even less, but the biggest thing people ask is, how am I cutting my calories back so much and my performance isn't suffering? So, I love this quote from Dr. Kathy Eccles from Yale University. She studies the human metabolism, and she talks that it's really the ability to maintain blood sugar that sustains energy levels. From a fitness standpoint, UCAN is huge because it does that without putting lots of calories on board. It's really beneficial because you can make every calorie count. So in terms of that calorie for calorie comparison, there's really 2 things going on, right? The first thing is with UCAN, because the calories are steadily released over time, you're getting them at the rate you need them. So even though with gels, you're taking 300 calories in, when you're getting that significant spike and your body's burning off a lot of that excess sugar, you're not really using it for energy. So there's a lot of empty calories, wasted calories in those gels. The other thing that's going on with UCAN, as we talked about, is we've always thought of calories as what we consume. We've always thought of calories as external calories. But with UCAN, because you're burning more fat to such a high degree, you're still getting calories. You're just getting calories from your own fat store. So this 130 calories may be what's coming from UCAN, but that's not all that you're using or all that your body's getting for energy. You're also utilizing your own fat, and that's where you also make up some of the deficit.
Yeah, I mean, just a little sciencey, but the adaptation to endurance sports, if you look at any of the physiology, is that to go back to like ninth grade biology, the mitochondria, the powerhouse, the muscle cell, the way you endure, and get better at it, running or cycling or swimming, is that the mitochondria in your muscle cell grow larger, and there's more enzymes surrounding them, so you can actually burn more fat. The body wants to burn fat when you are running, but if you take in those gels and you spike your sugars, your blood sugar, the body starts burning sugar, and you can't use that training adaptation. You can't use the thousands of calories of fat you have on your body. So with UCAN, it gives you the carbohydrate because your brain definitely needs that glucose, that carbohydrate, and that steadiness. But it's going to force your body to use more of your fat as your fuel and save the, what we call the precious glycogen, especially when you're going for a long run, to keep your muscle cells full and help you not get depleted. And that's really where the education comes in. The fact is that UCAN forces you to burn more fat on your body, and that helps you burn more calories, and that makes up that deficit. When we say 100 calories of fuel from UCAN equals 300 calories of fuel from a few gels. And it's really the way it makes your brain feel, especially when you're running. It keeps you very steady. Your energy doesn't let down, and that's the selling point. We always find out. I just speaking to someone yesterday who went for a cycle. She went for a 2 hour ride, and the second hour she said, "What was helping with my focus? Is there a stimulant in this?" And I said, "It's really the ability to maintain her blood sugar levels that maintains her cognitive function." And that's what you're feeling. You're feeling that steadiness. When blood sugar doesn't drop, you can maintain your focus.
So we've been going here for about 35 to 40 minutes now. I really appreciate you guys sticking around. I'm not sure how much time people have. So I will say I wanted to go through about 5 or 10 minutes with Seth and I. In the meantime, though, if there's anybody that has questions, there is a questions tool on the GoToWebinar app that you can see in the control panel. If you can type them in there, we'll certainly get to those. If anybody does want to come on and share any experience, we'd certainly bring you on. But I just want to, we dove deep into the science a little bit, and it's important for you all to get an understanding. But obviously for your staff, we need quick, easy, convenient selling points. So Seth, we're going to play a little game here for a minute and play a little role play game here. So let's look at one, say, performance type of customer. All right, you're going to be the sales staff. I'm going to be Michelle here. I'll talk in my voice. I don't sound like a Michelle, but so Michelle comes into the store and she's good runner. She's a 3 hour marathoner, really not so focused on the fitness aspect of it, but wants something that improves her performance. And Michelle's coming in for a gel, and she's coming into the staff and picking up a gel, and she strikes up a conversation with the staff at the store, and so as Michelle, I'm going to say, so I'm looking for some nutrition. I'm going to buy the gel, but a lot of times towards the end of my workout, it's a little tough. I'm getting dizzy, and I feel like the gels don't maintain me throughout the workout. I don't feel strong at the end. What do you have for me?
Have you ever heard of UCAN before?
I haven't. Tell me about it.
So this is, instead of, having that gel, that's going to raise your blood sugar levels. It's not going to last you that long. So we have this is a new product we have in the store. It's actually going to be pretty easy on the stomach. And if you have this before you start your run, it's going to sustain you for the entire time. You're not even going to need that gel.
So in this situation, where you have somebody that has played around with gels and doesn't feel like it maintains them as long as they'd like, really the selling point of UCAN is quite simple. It's a pre-workout snack that's going to release slowly. It's a carbohydrate that doesn't enter your system quickly. It releases slowly, and it keeps you steady and even throughout the run. Pretty simple. If we kind of look at Michelle, Michelle's actually, a lot of you folks will be meeting her. She's one of our new dietitians out on the West Coast, and we'll be working with a lot of our stores in the Western region. But with Michelle, as you see, she really was able to significantly improve her performance. 10th overall female, the first overall in a marathon or half marathon, excuse me, on the same course. She cut her mile time down from 6:40 to 6:13, and she strongly feels that she was able to do that because she was able to have consistent and steady energy to execute the end of her workout. Now let's look at another type of client, somebody looking to run a 10K and also somebody with a weight loss goal. So you probably see a lot of clients like this. And if you look at Amy's story, Amy was hesitant to take in nutrition before her run. And she was also having, either running on an empty stomach, or and then when she was done, very hungry, gravitating towards the bagels, the croissants, the muffins, those types of simple carbohydrates because they were quick and convenient. So Amy comes into the store, and again, Seth, you playing the store employee, says, I'm just signed up for my first 10K. I'm looking for something that'll give me energy, but I also don't want a lot of sugar. I'm trying to lose some weight. What do you recommend?
Yeah. So what are you usually having before you start your run?
I usually don't like to eat much. I'm just kind of scared how things are going to settle in my stomach, so I don't like to really eat much, but I get very hungry when I'm done running.
Yeah, so there's actually a new product in the store. It's called Generation UCAN. Have you heard of it before?
I haven't.
Yeah, so this is actually, it's a new nutrition product that's going to not only be easy on your stomach, but it's going to sustain your energy throughout your running. And the best part is that when you're done running, you're not going to be hungry. It's going to curb those cravings and hunger after a run, so you can, go home or take a shower, have a proper meal. Some folks even use it for recovery. There's a protein enhanced version we have at the store. We have a chocolate and vanilla flavor that you could have post workout after you run to to keep you level and not want to go take a nap and not want to end up eating too much after a run.
So with Amy, if you look at her results, June of 2013 could barely run 6 miles. October 2013 ran her first half marathon, and she says, since I've started using UCAN, I've lost 15 pounds and over 4 inches from my waist, and she loves how great she feels, which is really the key point. The way UCAN is going to make you feel. The thing about talking about UCAN in terms of weight loss and weight management is, we're certainly not sitting here positioning this as, a slim fast type miracle weight loss shake, or whatever. A lot of you see a million loss products out on the market, and this isn't something that we're saying sit on your couch, sip on UCAN all day, and you're going to magically lose weight. But it's a tool. It's a weight loss tool. So you want to implement it strategically before your workout and replace other carbohydrates. Or if you're not eating anything, it can still contribute to weight loss because UCAN is going to give people the energy to work out harder. A lot of times people who are struggling to lose weight, who cut down the calories before they work out, all they're doing is sacrificing the quality of their workout. I mean, we've heard it time and time again. People don't have the energy to work out because, and you're not going to lose weight if you're not working out hard. So with UCAN, we really find that it's allowing folks who weren't eating to have better workouts and they don't feel as hungry after. And it's allowing people who were making poor nutrition choices before to replace it with a better nutrition choice that's really going to encourage fat burning. So Seth, I think, in the interest of letting people get back to work, if we could just sum up maybe 2 or 3 quick hit points to really make things easy in terms of explaining the benefits for their staff about UCAN.
So this is a new nutrition product that's easy on the stomach. It's going to give you steady and even energy, and it's going to it's going to curb that hunger after you run.
And then in terms of fat burning, a really easy way to describe this is when you take in a lot of sugar before your run or throughout your run,
Burn sugar.
you burn sugar. Exactly. When you keep your blood sugar stable, which is what UCAN does, you're able to burn fat. And that's a simple, you don't have to, you certainly with customers that know more about nutrition or with staff that understands nutrition, you could get into the insulin and everything like that. But at the very crux of the issue, when your blood sugar is stable and you don't have spikes in blood sugar, the body's going to be able to burn fat. When you have excess sugar in the blood, when you're constantly drinking sugar during a workout, the body's naturally just going to burn that sugar first. It's as simple as that.
And you know what? Most of the time, we were just sponsoring the All-American Marathon out in Fayetteville, North Carolina. We were the product on the course, and our UCAN Hydrate, what we're going to soon be launching, was the electrolyte product. And people were coming back to us, and they weren't saying, my blood sugar felt so stable. Everybody coming back to us who had tried the Tropical Orange UCAN before their marathon, and then had it, every 5 miles or so during the marathon, was saying, I felt so good. I felt great. And we call it this UCAN feeling. Because when you're maintaining your energy, you're going to feel so much better. And that's really what it's all about. We call it this UCAN feeling, and it's something your customers just have to experience.
And in terms of if you were gonna be proactive and sample UCAN, we really, you could certainly, like the new orange flavor, the chocolate and the vanilla have always been very well received from a taste standpoint. But if you've ever seen us at expos, the selling point for UCAN isn't like a 2-ounce taster cup of UCAN. There's a reason, without specifically naming people, that a lot of companies give small tastes of their product, and it's usually because it's essentially candy, right? If I walk by somewhere and I get a nice sugary chew or gel, and I was, it tastes great. Well, yeah, of course it does. If I ate a Sour Patch Kid or Swedish Fish, I'd feel the same way. So with UCAN, it's really about, giving something. You could certainly, with the electrolyte product, that's coming out, that's a great one to do taste sampling of. It doesn't have this starchy texture. You could certainly do taste sampling of UCAN, but really we found the most effective selling point is drink this 30 minutes before your workout, see how you feel throughout the workout, and that feeling is going to be very steady, very even. And the final point I'll make is, I think we're kind of reaching a tipping point in the endurance industry, and it's kind of part of this whole national conversation about sugar consumption, and as people kind of understand that the carb loading isn't all that people used to think it was. There's been an emphasis now on consuming more protein and fat and kind of balancing out the diet. UCAN very much fits in to the national conversation that's going on. Even with the new diets that you see, the paleo diets, UCAN fits the principle of paleo, which is, at the very crux of it, paleo, for maybe mainstream wise, it's being, branded as something that, oh, we have to eat how our ancestors ate. But if you really look at the nutrition principles of paleo, it's all about maintaining blood sugar and keeping insulin low so the body can utilize fat. And UCAN fits right into that. So I think you're going to see more and more people coming into the store, even if they don't know about UCAN or are necessarily looking for UCAN, they're going to be looking for something that isn't the traditional sugary drink or the sugary gel, or isn't the standard high carb energy source. They want really something that's, even though they may not put it in the terms like something that's maintaining my blood sugar, they want something without the sugar that's going to keep their energy levels steady. And that's really, where UCAN fits in. So, I guess I just want to thank you all for your support. Many of you who I see on here, you've been loyal UCAN retailers for a long time, and that's much appreciated. I hope you see the growth as we've grown. It's kind of some days we've been on the market for 4 years. Some days I can't believe it's been only 4 years. Sometimes I can't believe it's been that long. But it's been a fun ride, and I think it's only going to continue. And we are very open to offering these types of education opportunities to your customers specifically. So if you guys have a training group, or you think there's a good day, please do reach out to me. And if you want to offer a deeper dive into the science with your customer base, we've done that for Fleet Feet in Pittsburgh. Actually, we did that a few maybe a month or so ago for their marathon, or 2 months ago for their marathon training group. They ordered $1,500 of product in a week span because everybody was coming in and asking for UCAN once they were educated about it. So yeah, we're very much all about education. We're all about coming out for group runs, getting ambassadors out to your stores for group runs, and so yeah, we just want to let you know, keep the conversation open with us. Really thank you guys for joining us, and like I said, everybody who was on this webinar, you'll be getting a personal email from me, just touching base with you about the samples that we'll send you, and all that. So again, much appreciated. Seth, anything else from you?
No, it's just we want your customers to experience the UCAN feeling.
Thank you, guys. Thank you very much. Everyone will get a recording of this in their email as well, so you can feel free to share it with your staff. Thank you so much. Have a great day.